Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Friends, I am sorry for not having the sutta study last Saturday due to technical problems in my computer. Today we'll be doing the one we missed, that is Cula kammavibhanga Sutta, or the shorter exposition of action from the Majjhima Nikaya, the middle length discourses of the Buddha. First, I like to explain the meaning of the title. Cula means lesser, minor, smaller, shorter. And the text uses the word shorter. Kamma means action by body, speech, and mind. Vibhanga means division, distribution, classification, exposition. The text uses the word exposition. The doctrine of kamma came from the first knowledge that the Buddha gained when he attained enlightenment. He saw how he had been born and reborn in many, many different lives. The second knowledge was how other beings fared according to their actions in different lives. The third knowledge was the extinction of all defilements, so that his mind was totally pure. The Cula kammavibhanga Sutta, or the shorter exposition of action, is special, for it gives specific examples of the fruits or vipaka of kamma. Vipaka means consequences or fruits. As long as beings, not only human beings, all beings, engage in action, there will be results continuing on and on. That is the consequences of the wholesome and unwholesome deeds done by any being. They could ripen, that is, they could come into action in the present life, that is in the life that they are living now, or the next, or in any later birth. At the moment of death, some action performed in one's lifetime may come into the consciousness of the dying being. That may shape the next rebirth. There are other ways of getting the rebirth too. Unless one has attained the non-returner stage, that is anagami, or the arahant, total liberation or enlightenment, there will be a renewed existence or rebirth, because our craving is not satiated in this world. We grasp another existence. That is how we go into another existence. The discourse is addressed to the laity, to the lay people, especially to those who are not familiar with the deeper aspects of the doctrine of karma. The sutta starts with Subha, a Brahmin youth, who asks the Buddha some questions. These questions had been troubling him for some time, and he had nobody to ask. So now he comes to the Buddha and asks, what is the cause and condition why human beings are seen to be inferior and superior, short-lived and long-lived, sickly and healthy, ugly and beautiful, uninfluential and influential, poor and wealthy, high-born or low-born, stupid and wise. Now there are actually 8 pairs of opposites. Now Buddha answered, beings are the owners of their actions, heirs of their actions. They originate from their actions, are bound to their actions, have actions as their refuge. It is action that distinguishes beings as inferior and superior. As he did not understand the Buddha's statement, it was a brief statement, Subha asked for a detailed explanation, and the Buddha said, when one kills living beings, mind you, not only human beings, and is murderous, bloody-handed, given to blows and violence, merciless to living beings, if one is reborn as a human, he or she is short-lived. When one has abandoned killing of living beings, abstains from killing with rods and weapons, becomes gentle and kindly, is compassionate to all living beings, it leads to long life when one returns to human state. I must tell you that always we don't return to human state. According to our actions, we might become, even animals, go to a woeful place, become a petha, or even become a deva, a deity in heaven. Also, it is possible to go to hell. So, this is if we come into the human world again. When one does not when one injures living beings with the hand, a clod, a stick, or a knife, if one returns to human states, becomes sickly. That is how one, as they are born, some beings are sickly, right? Now, when one does not injure beings with the hand, a clod, a stick, or a knife, if one returns to human state, is healthy. When one is of an angry or irritable nature, displays anger, hate, and bitterness, if one is reborn as a human, will be ugly. When one is not of an angry or irritable character, does not display anger, hate, and bitterness, even when criticized, if reborn in the human state, is beautiful. When one is envious towards the gains, honors, respect, reverence, salutation, and veneration received by others, if born in a human state, is uninfluential. however much they may try, they cannot, get on in life. Very uninfluential. When one is not envious towards the gains, honor, etc., towards others, if reborn in the human state, is influential, can help even other people. When one does not give food, drink, clothing, carriages, garlands, scents, unguents, beds, dwelling, and lamps to Sramanas, recluses, and Brahmins, if reborn in a human state, is poor. I must tell you, this does not mean that you give only to the homeless, those who have left the home and gone to, into a spiritual life. And also all these things that I mentioned are not given to the Buddha's disciples. You must remember that Buddha was living in a different time. When one gives food, etc., to recluses, Sramanas, and Brahmins, if reborn in the human state, will be wealthy. If one is obstinate and arrogant, does not pay homage to one who should receive homage, like elders, parents, teachers, and so on, does not pay respect, revere, and venerate one who should be honored, respected, etc., when reborn in the human world, will get a low birth. When one is not obstinate and arrogant, pays homage to, etc., where due, wherever is reborn, will be highborn. When someone does not visit recluses or Brahmins and find out what is wholesome and what is unwholesome, blamable or blameless, what should be cultivated and not cultivated, that means developed. Cultivated means developed. What action would lead to harm and suffering? What will lead to welfare and happiness? If returned to the human state, will be stupid. So, today it's not necessarily important that you should go to people and find out. You can find out even if you are at home from there are many resources, books and papers and CDs and computers and so on. So today, this does not apply in that sense. But I must tell you that the person who is spiritual is a noble friend. So therefore, that way, you will get a Kalyana Mitra if you go to meet such people. Okay, when one questions and finds out what actions would lead to happiness and welfare for a long time, if return to the human state, would be wise. Now Buddha ends his explanation of what he said by repeating the brief answer he gave at the beginning. That statement has 6 factors that illustrate the effectiveness of kamma. Though it speaks of one's ownership of kamma, it does not state that everything is due to kamma. Don't say, now if you get a headache, don't say, oh, it is my kamma. So, everything is not kamma. It is cause and effect. There are, you see, in the Dhamma, there is the Dhamma gives 5 universal orders. Now, what are they? They are Uttu Niyama. Now, Niyama is the word for universal law. So, Uttu Niyama means physical, inorganic order. For example, the seasonal change. You can think of many other things that come with this kind of thing, right? The Uttu Niyama. Then bija niyama. Bija niyama is the physical organic order. Now, what is that? Now, supposing you plant a mango seed, you will not get an apple tree. Now, that is the kind of thing that bija niyama tells us. Then, the third is kamma niyama. So, you can see it is also one of the niyamas, one of the universal laws. Then, the next one is dhamma niyama. Now, for example, the gravitation that we know, also something like the Buddha's arising, or even the arising of Jesus. Actually, when you go to, this is what I think. Don't think that it was in the book or anywhere. When you go to see the history of the world, you can see that at different times, different teachers arise in the world. So that is also, I think, part of the Dhamma Niyama. Then there is the Chitta Niyama. That is the process of consciousness, clairvoyance, telepathy. You see, those are the 5 niyamas. Then you can see kamma is only one of the niyamas. In the numerical discourses of the Buddha, that is the Anguttara Nikaya, the Buddha compares one's kamma to seeds that depend on favorable conditions to germinate. That means like water, good soil, etc. But now our problem is not to germinate, right? So kamma, when it germinates, it can be good or bad. So, or it could be destroyed by burning. These seeds could be destroyed by burning. Now, in the sense of the spiritual sense, it means through spiritual development. That is what we are doing, right? In the Lonapala Sutta, that is also called the lump of salt. It is said that the effects of one's unwholesome kamma can be limited by the practice of loving kindness, that is metta. So that is why metta is one of the most favorite meditations of everybody. All meditators like this. I mean, there may be one or two who cannot do it, but on the whole, this is one of the most favored meditations, metta meditation. Because, can you see, it can even erase some of the unwholesome kamma that we have done before. It is important to understand that kamma is intention. Now that is what is important. It is intention. We do things because we intend to do it. We want to do it. Whether good or bad action, because having willed, one acts by body, speech, and mind or thought. As kamma is one's own doing, I cannot do kamma and give it over to another. Nobody else can give their kamma to me either. So kamma is one's own doing. It is possible to divert the results of kamma to some extent. Can you see how logical our Dhamma is, unlike other Dhammas that you find in the world? This is free will. No God or supernatural being controls our actions. We alone are responsible for them. It's our choice. That is why we call it free will. If you want to do the bad things, yeah, do it and get the results. If you want to do good and get the results, right? So, but we cannot forget that the past influences the present. So, kamma is both past and present deeds. When I say past, not only in this life, but also in past lives, not one. An action is morally unwholesome when it is motivated by craving, hatred, and delusion. And wholesome when it is not. Every intentional action is a force, a power that we add on to the atmosphere. Buddha says, Chetanahang bhikkhave kammang vadami. I'm sure some of you know it. Meaning, bhikkhus, thought, I say, is action or kamma. An impure mind will bring forth impure words and actions, and the result will be pain and suffering. Cultivating the mind is substituting wholesome mental states for the unwholesome ones. The doctrine of kamma shows how one is morally and spiritually responsible for oneself and others. See, when we don't kill, we spare another's life. Unlike an animal, a human being has a larger range of choices before taking an action. Though greed, hatred, and delusion may influence the action, mindfulness could help to make wise decisions, because all actions are motivated by the mind. The doers are the actual heirs and owners of their actions. When once a situation arises, without reacting, if we practice patience along with mindfulness, we could make a wise decision instead of suddenly jumping and then, doing something for which we regret later. The Buddha says, in this fathom-long body, with its perceptions and thoughts, the world is found, not outside. And the origin of the world, origin means what? That we are born because of our karma. That is the origin. And also the ending. That means by meditating, purifying the mind, we can liberate ourselves. And the path to its ending. What is the path? The Noble Eightfold Path. This world that the Buddha speaks of is the body and mind aggregate. Kamma is the true creator of the world, of this world. For through our actions, we build and rebuild this world as well as the next. Now, why do we say we build this world? The present birth, due to kamma, is done because of past births and past actions done in the past births. Rebuild means that in this present birth, what do? We influence the next birth by our actions in this present birth. Even good actions, if done under the influence of craving, conceit, and ignorance, will only increase our suffering. Beings originate from their actions. According to Buddha, no one can come into being without a previous cause and other necessary conditions. Just as a rotten mango seed cannot produce a healthy mango tree and healthy sweet fruits. Evil volitional actions or kamma produced in a former birth are the seeds or root causes of an evil destiny in a later birth. So when you look at the world, you can see not only human beings, but even animals and so on, other beings. Some, even in their lower births, they have a better life than others. Human beings, the same. You can see that there is so much of difference in the world. You see, we say that all are equal, but there is a lot of difference, right? That is due to one's own actions. As pleasure and pain are causally conditions due to a cause, humans, by their knowledge of themselves and nature, would understand, control, and master them. So that is why we have to understand our own life experiences, what we are doing, know the Dhamma, read about it, find out about it, investigate. Both pleasure and pain are caused by feeling. By feeling. Feeling happens when one of the senses, it may be ear, it may be the nose, it may be tongue, the eye, any of the senses, come in contact with its object. Each sense has its own object. The eye, the form. The ear, the sound. The tongue, the taste. So like that, each sense has its own object. And once it comes in contact with that object, the consciousness must go there. And the these three things, make us feel. Now, for instance, the ear, sound, and consciousness. If it's a pleasant sound, craving arises. We want to hear more. If unpleasant, displeasure. We want to, go away from there or, push it out. So both like and dislike happen due to causes. I didn't take the neutral one because that is not so important as these two. That's why it's said causally conditioned, due to a cause. Some past action can even be destroyed or modified by your present actions. Now see how beautiful and how meaningful our Dhamma is. According to the Buddha, rebirth is caused by the nature of the kamma. Kamma of a sensual nature will result in a rebirth in a sensual realm. Now what are the sensual realms? They are the human realm, the animal realm, Peta, also Deva and Asura. So these are the sensual realms. So once you do actions with sensual desire, you are born into one of these. A jhana meditator, someone who is, meditating, even if it's not jhana, but very often it's if one is a jhana meditator, will be reborn in a Brahma realm. Now the difference is the Brahma realms are more spiritual, not sensuous. If one has not attained the higher attainments, at death, the craving for existence, that is called bhava tanha. Now there are three kinds of tanhas or cravings. Kama tanha, sensual desire. Bhava tanha, desire for existence. Then kama tanha, vibhava tanha, craving for non-existence. So this is bhava tanha, makes the dying being grasp on to another existence. That's how we go on in samsara. Buddha says, beings are bound to their actions. This is aptly illustrated in a Dhammapada verse. I'm going to chant that verse. Mano pubbanga ma dhamma, mano setta mano maya, manasache paduttena, bhasati va karoti va, tatonang dukkhamang veti, chakkangva vahato padang. That is the first verse of the Dhammapada. Now the meaning is, all actions are led by the mind. Mind is their master. Mind is their maker. Act or speak with a defiled state of mind. Then suffering follows as the cartwheel follows the foot of the ox. You know, the ox does not like to, carry or to pull the burdened cart, but it has to do it. That is its karma. In the same way, when we do bad karma, we have to undergo that kind of difficulty. Now the next verse, the same one, it's in the opposite sense. Mano pubbanga ma dhamma, mano setta mano maya, manasache pasannena, bhasati va karoti va, tatonang sukhamang veti, chayava anapaini. Now the meaning is, all actions are led by the mind. Mind is their master. Mind is their maker. Act or speak with a pure state of mind. Then happiness follows as your shadow follows you without departing. Now the shadow is not going to, burden you. It's something that just is there. You don't have to worry about it. Beings have their actions as their refuge. Refuge means a shelter or protection from danger. When one's previous actions have been good, in the present, they become one's refuge. What it means is, now, for instance, I have done good actions in the past. I'm just giving you an example, right? Therefore, my present life is going to be pleasant. It's the same for anybody. When you have done good actions, it is a refuge for you. So, if that person continues to do good, that would be an additional safety measure for future lives. Because you don't want to go on and on in samsara. What you want is to shorten this life and get yourself liberated, right? So I'm going to tell you a small story. When the Buddha was living, there was a young novice monk named Sankicha. He accompanied 30 meditative monks to a far-off place. On the way, they had to pass a dense forest. It was inhabited by a band of robbers. These robbers wanted to make a human sacrifice to the forest spirits. They demanded that one monk should be given for the sacrifice. From the eldest to the youngest, each one of the bhikkhus volunteered to go. See how generous and compassionate they are? But the young monk, though still a small novice, was an arahant. So he told the other monks that his teacher, Venerable Sariputta, who was the chief disciple of the Buddha, had sent him on this mission, knowing this danger would come upon them. And he was selected because he had good karma. Can you see? Good karma can help each and everyone, not only yourself. So he went with the robbers. After the preparations for the sacrifice was done, the robber leader raised his sword to cut off the little Samanera's head. Venerable Sankicha, meanwhile, had entered into the jhana and was silent and without any fear. The sword bent backwards. Then the robber leader knelt at the monk's feet and asked for his pardon, because he realized that this is a virtuous monk. I should not do anything wrong. I will burn in hell. So the robbers gave up their bad habits and became ordained as monks like Angulimala. Here, the good karma of the little novice monk saved everyone, not only the robbers, not only the monks, but also the little monk also. Everybody was saved. When one has good karma, one does not save only oneself, but others too. As human beings, we should practice good karma. For we have become human beings because of doing meritorious acts in the past. Even if we have certain difficulties in life, in this life, to become a human being is also due to our merits in the past. If we just enjoy this life, when we leave, we will not have any merits to take with us. Friends, the Buddha said that karma is achinteya, which means that it is beyond the comprehension of ordinary beings, impenetrable, unthinkable, and only a Buddha could really understand it fully. So, let us say someone who has kept the precepts now in this world, practiced meditation, been generous, kind, and compassionate, is stricken by a sudden illness or misfortune strikes that family or a member of that family. Then sometimes one loses faith even in the Dhamma and becomes agitated and miserable. Now, having understood the workings of karma, we can see that this unhappy situation is due to a past karma, and it's possible to alleviate its bad effects by doing good, wholesome karma now. So, that is the end of the sutta. Would you like to do some meditation? Or are you tired?
That's fine, Ayya.
Okay. So as fortunate human beings, we should gather good karma. Therefore, now let's spend a little time in meditation. So I think, at least I thought that we would continue to do the the elements as a meditation. So now take the posture. Sit straight with hands in front. Take a few deep breaths. Close your eyes. We are going to look at this body. It's composed of 4 elements: the earth element, water element, air element, and heat element. Now let us take the earth element first. It is divided into 20 parts by the Buddha, but we'll look at 5 of them. The head hair, it has the quality of hardness. It changes. It's also flexible. It's impermanent. The teeth has the quality of hardness, but they break up, gets discolored, is impermanent. Nails has the quality of hardness. They also change. Gets discolored, is impermanent. Skin has the quality of softness and hardness. Gets dirty. It changes. Is impermanent. Bones, hard, with different shapes and sizes. As I say, please look at your own body. Gives the body its shape and a sense of solidity. Is impermanent. All 5 earth elements are impermanent, brings pain and suffering, not mine or myself. The water element has the quality of fluidity, cohesion or binding, spreading, is impermanent. Now an example is saliva. Mixes with food, slimy, impermanent. Blood flows through the body, gives strength to the body. But impermanent. Tears, when emotions are aroused, trickles out of the eyes only. Salty, impermanent. Perspiration oozes out of the body, smells unpleasant, sometimes warm, sometimes cool, impermanent. Urine, waste matter secreted by the kidneys, discharged from the body. Unpleasant, smelly, impermanent. The water element is impermanent, brings suffering, and is not mine or myself. heat element all over the body. Keeps the body warm or cool as needed. Impermanent. Not mine or myself. Air element is drawn into the lungs and expelled out. Impermanent. Not mine or myself. All four elements are impermanent, gives pain and suffering, cannot be owned, not mine or myself. They are the same as the elements outside. Now you can open your eyes. And if you have any questions, also you can ask.
Bhikkhunin Wahanse, Mama Padmini.
Yes, yes.
Oh, can you tell me the name of the sutta? The first sutta? The
one that we did today?
Yes, please.
It's called the Cula Vibhanga Sutta. Kammavibhanga. Kammavibhanga Sutta.
Okay, Cula. Okay, I will write. Cula
Kammavibhanga Sutta.
Okay.
Or the short exposition of action from the Majjhima Nikaya.
Majjhima Nikaya, Vibhanga Sutta. Majjhima Nikaya. And Bhikkhuni,
Yeah.
when most of the time I do this meditation of 4 elements, or the other one particular manasikārya. But mostly sometimes I do ānāpānasati, breathing meditation. But when I compare those two meditations, I can do easily this 4 element meditation and particular manasikārya than ānāpānasati. Why? I always think why it's.
That is sometimes due to your own experience.
Okay.
So, whatever is good for you, don't think of other people. Others are doing this, so I must do it. No. Each one, that is why there are so many meditations that Buddha has given.
Yeah.
So, because of the differences in each individual. So, one may not be good for another. I can tell you a very short, I might have said it before also. There was a monk who had been a goldsmith earlier, in the earlier
Bhava.
In the earlier birth, and he became a monk under Venerable Sariputta. So Venerable Sariputta, because he was lustful, he was very lustful. Sensuous, right? So he gave this particular manasikara. And the monk went to the forest and came back and said, "Oh, my sensuous desire increases with this." 3 times he tried it with this monk, but he could not. Then he took the monk to the Buddha. And what did the Buddha do? Buddha didn't give particular mansikara. Buddha gave a lotus flower and said, "Place this in front of you and look at it and meditate. So this monk made a earth, a heap of earth, stuck it in the earth, and he waited, and then he was looking at it, and he saw how the petals, folded, the petals sort of wilted, then they fell down, and then that was enough for his liberation. So you can see each one has a different kind of experience in life. So therefore, the meditation also should be different. Okay. Whatever is good for you, do it.
Okay.
And also what I did today could extend on to, now I do this meditation, and I do it for hours. So it can be done for hours. Don't think you can do it in 10 minutes like we did today.
Yeah. It's very easy to do those, the meditation of 4 elements, and because I can focus that I can think and have a picture in my mind about my body and the impermanence of my body. When I think about that, my eyesight, like all those things, my hair, then it's very easy to recognize the impermanence of this whole world, everything.
Very good. That is what is necessary, isn't it?
Yeah.
So any others who have any questions?
So you compared karma to like seeds, right?
Not I, Buddha.
Oh yes, sorry.
Okay, no, go on.
So to germinate, you need to have like some kind of conditions, right? So like a wholesome or unwholesome. Can you like expand some more on that area? Like what kind of favorable conditions to
you mean now when you think of the seed, you can imagine now for the seed needs rain. Then it needs fertilizer. It needs soil. If any of these things are not there, the seed will die off. But in our case, what we need is not to germinate the seed, the kamma seed, but to get rid of it. So therefore, what we do is the other way about, to burn it up. Now, if you burn the seed, it will not grow. So therefore, in our case, we need to burn up the kamma. Whether it is good kamma or bad kamma, whatever the kamma, we because of it, we go on into another existence. So that is what creates the suffering by going on and on in samsara.
Right. So you want to burn both the good and the bad karma?
In order to liberate oneself, that is what is necessary.
Okay. But in the samsara, like before you become nirvana, you want to like be happy, right? So you want to like burn off your bad karma. But do you want to burn off your good karma?
Yeah, it is good. It is now. Supposing you have not yet reached that kind of attitude towards life, not really finished with this life. You don't want to go on in life, right. But you like to, you like your sensuous world. Then you do good karma.
Yeah.
Because leave out the bad karma. Then you won't get the results of the the bad karma. Even if you have done a few bad karmas, they will be sort of weakened and sort of become ahosi. There is the ahosi karma also. So therefore, if you have not finished your craving in this world, you can always do the good karma while we are living.
Right.
The basic thing is to burn these karma, good or bad, to avoid lobha, dvesha, moha.
Yeah, that's right. That is what you call this.
Yes, Kesha or the
Yeah,
like
craving.
craving,
Yeah, desire.
desire and hatred and delusion.
Yeah.
So we
Those
have
are
to.
three things that make us do these bad things, right?
Yeah. So then when we get rid of these things, then we automatically burn the bad karma. We are not doing bad karma.
That's right.
So they
And
can be,
also, it's good to be mindful.
Yeah, mindful.
so that they can be compared to the conditions that you compare to the like a seeds. What are the conditions you need for the seeds to grow like that?
Oh,
For
yeah.
farmers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the seeds, if you give the seeds whatever is good, the seeds will grow. If you don't give the seeds whatever is not good, whatever is good, if you don't give it, then the seeds will burn out.
Right.
But in the case of spirituality, what we don't want to go on and on in samsara, but there may be people who like to enjoy certain senses, maybe like to go to a heavenly world, to have to enjoy more and for a long time, because unlike in the human world, the heavenly world is it is said has a long expanse of life there. One of their days is 100 days in the human world. So like that, it depends on each one's understanding of the Dhamma and also the way they react to the Dhamma.
Thank you, Aya.
Hello.
Yes, Danny?
I practice. I follow the Buddha, and every day I've become interested in the Buddha's teachings, and I'm very thankful for this group, to be a part of this group. You guys are very positive, and I'm very thankful to be part of this group. Very positive energy, and I need this positive. You guys are very positive, and not everyone in the world is positive like this group. I'm very thankful to be a part of this group.
You're welcome.